Today we're going to talk about using dialogue in your writing. So hopefully you have this video running, but I know you also have the worksheet on another tab. So I want you to do what we did the other day, and I want you to do a split screen because, again, I am going to be asking you to do this as I do it. So if you tear that one off, and then if you pull it to the right, you can make them split screen. And again, you may have to do a Control minus to make it fit nicely, and then both of them fit okay. All right, I'm going to go back to one screen, but your screen should look like this. So here I am. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want you to see it up and close. Okay, so I guess our first question is, what is dialogue? So if you come right here, I want you to be taking these notes. Dialogue is a conversation between two people in a piece of writing. So today we're talking about your story, and we're going to have people talking back and forth. And dialogue is punctuated by using quotation marks. All right, make sure you have those notes there. So we're going to be talking about how to use quotation marks today. All right, take a look at this example from, this is a story called Blackwater. It's a novel. And I want you to notice as I read the quotation marks and the punctuation. So what do vultures do? I asked now. Oh, shoplift, steal purses, rob houses, stuff like that, mumbled Alex. Yeah? Rob houses? I said, as if I'd believe this baloney. Did he think I'd be impressed? Okay, so we have two characters talking. We have I, and we have Alex. And when a character is talking, when the character I is talking, his name is actually Brody, you notice that there are quotation marks around his exact words, and then there's something called an identifier, the person's name and a talking word. Now here's Alex talking. Here are Alex's direct words. Oops, sorry. There are quotation marks around exactly what he said. Oh, shoplift, steal purses, rob houses, stuff like that. There's a little bit of punctuation there. There's a comma there. And then again, the identifier. Mumbled is the talk word, and then the character. Yeah, rob houses, I said. Those are Brody's exact words, and that's the I character. There's a talk word, said, and then I. And then this part is what Brody is thinking, not what he's saying. So there are no quotation marks about that. I want you to notice each time a new character speaks, there's a new line. And it's actually indented in the story. So using quotation marks is a little bit confusing, but we want to make sure you understand the punctuation that goes with it. So here are some rules. And again, I want you to fill these in as I fill them in. So always put quotes around what the character is, and we're going to put the word saying. So then it tells you to add quotation marks. So you can do this right along with me. I'm going to put quotation marks here. You are doing a good job. And I'm actually going to copy this so it comes in red. You're doing a good job, said the teacher. Now, I want you to notice where I put this one. Oh, they're backwards. All right, so I got to do it this way. Oh, they come in red. Very nice. You are doing a good job, comma, quotation mark. The comma is inside the quotation mark. That's something really hard that we want to show you. Okay? So just around the words that the character says. Got it? Okay. Number 2. Always capitalize the first word in the quote. Always capitalize the first word in the quote. All right. So again, when I say the quote, I mean exactly what the character says. So we're going to add capitalization to these examples. The teacher said, comma, quotation mark, you are doing a good job. Please capitalize that first word inside the quotation marks. And the second one, you, the teacher said, are doing a good job. Now, we capitalize this one, but we don't capitalize this one. Notice the identifier piece, the talk word and the character, are in the middle here. So what the character says starts here but finishes here. So you only need a capital letter at the first part of that person's sentence. And then in the third one, you are doing a good job, the teacher said. Okay, so capitalize the first word. The third thing we need to do is to separate the quote from a speaker with a comma. And notice where the comma is. You are doing a good job, comma, said the teacher. The comma is inside the quotation marks. I want you to remember that. You put a comma inside the quotation marks. So it goes comma, then quotation marks. We're going to give you a quiz on that next week, so I want you to be really careful with it. Number 4, the speaker can be identified in 3 different places. Before the quote, in the middle of the quote, or this should say, at the end of the quote. So 3 different places. And I'm going to tell you which one I like the most. But let's do it first. So we're going to add that down here. And remember, if you need to stop to catch up, please do that. So, before the quote. Who's saying this? The teacher. Okay, I forgot. The teacher said, comma, you are doing a good job. Notice the comma. Notice the capital letter. Now notice out here the period is outside the quotation marks. Alright, so I'm going to copy this and paste it in the next one. The next one is the middle. You, comma, quotation marks. The teacher said, are doing a good job. So here we put it in the middle. You, oh, and now this needs to be a lowercase t. The teacher said, comma, are doing a good job. So the identifier is in the middle, the talk word and the person. And then the last place you can put it is at the end. You are doing a good job. Then we need to change this to a comma. The teacher said. You're doing a job that the teacher said, or said the teacher. Either one's fine. Okay? Okay. So all 3 are okay. I'm going to tell you that I don't love putting it at the beginning. The teacher said you are doing a good job. That often sounds very it doesn't sound natural. When we read a story, we really like to hear the words first and then the identifier after. It's not wrong, so you can do it, but I don't love it. Okay, it's a little bit awkward. So I'll take that off. But it isn't a great way to do it. The second 2 are better. All right, and then rule 5. If a person is asking a question, use a question mark, right? If the speaker is excited, use an did I just get lost? Exclamation point. Good. Now, where do you put those? Again, you put them inside the quote. They kind of replace that comma. So, are you doing a good job, question mark? Asked the teacher. I am doing a great job, exclamation point, smiled the student. That's a pretty easy one. Number 6, add a new line and indent. You know what indent is? That's when you start a few spaces in, 5 spaces in when there's a new paragraph. So add a new line and indent each time a new person speaks. This means you press enter, tab, just like you're starting a new paragraph. All right, so there's my tab. Have you finished checking your homework, the teacher said? Yes. And again, that's indented. And you see it in a paragraph, but you go in 5 spaces. And each time a new person talks, you start a new line. Have you finished checking your work, the teacher asked? Yes, the class answered. It was so much fun. Okay. So I want you to keep these rules and go back to them. It's important that you know them as you're doing this. Because right now, your story probably looks like this. And you probably have writing in it, but you need to add the quotation marks. So I'm going to do this for you. You can do it as I do it. You can stop the video and do it. But you can try it and maybe go back and see if you're correct. All right? So I'm going to do it very quickly. I'm going to read it first. Today was the day that I had to make a 10-minute presentation in front of my class. Wake up, my mom said. Go away because I don't want to go to school. She came in and sat on my bed and said, don't worry. You practiced your presentation a lot. I told her I'm still scared and I will forget everything I practiced. Don't worry, she said. When I went down to breakfast, she made me pancakes. Thank you, Mom. I just want you to have a good start to your day, she said. Now let's practice some more. We did, and I got it. And I did great. I got an A on my presentation. Okay, so there's narration and there's 2 characters talking. So I'm going to very quickly go ahead and punctuate this. So it's a new paragraph, so we need to start with a tab because we need to indent a new paragraph. Today was the day that I had to make a 10-minute presentation in front of my class. By the way, when you read this the first time, it was confusing, right? It makes it a lot easier to read when you put the quotation marks in, and that's why we use them. Okay, today was the day that I had to make a 10-minute presentation in front of my class. All right, so here Mom's talking. So I'm going to put quotation marks around it. Wake up, comma, quotation mark, my mom said. Now I say, go away because I don't want to go to school. Quotation marks. New paragraph because there's a new speaker here. She came in and sat on my bed and said, comma, quotation mark, and then we need a capital letter here. Don't worry, you practiced your presentation a lot. And here's where Mom stops talking, so I'm going to put quotation marks. And then I start talking. I told her, comma, I am still scared and I will forget everything I practiced. Quotation marks. And then there's a period there because it started with I told her. All right, then she talks, so I have to indent again. Look at all these indents. Does this look strange? Well, it looks strange when all we're doing is talking, but when you put it in a story and there's just little pieces, it doesn't look so strange. All right, don't worry, comma, she said. And then this is not talking. Oh, we're down on the next page. When I went down to the breakfast table, she had made pancakes. All right, so that's a paragraph by itself. But then I start talking again. So I'm going to say, thank you, Mom. And then there's no identifier, so we're going to keep the period inside the quotes. And then it's Mom talking again. I just want you to have a good start to your day, comma, quotation marks, she said. Now let's practice some more. I think Mom says that. And there's no identifier there, so we're going to put that there. And then there's narration. We did, and I did great. I got an A on my presentation. Nobody says that. Again, the narrator doesn't say that. The narrator is thinking that, so that doesn't get any quotation marks. Now read it, and you're going to see that it makes a lot more sense. Today was the day that I had to make a 10-minute presentation in front of my class. Wake up, my mom said. Go away, because I don't want to go to school. New paragraph. She came to my bed and said, "Don't worry, you practiced a lot." I told her, "I'm still scared and I'll forget everything I practiced." "Don't worry," she said. When I went down to breakfast, she made me pancakes. "Thank you, Mom." There's an extra space in there. Yep. "Thank you, Mom." "I just want you to have a good start on your day," she said. "Now let's practice some more." We did, and I did great. Okay, so a new line every time the speaker changes. And then your quotation marks and your commas. Looks very different, but it's much easier to read. So hopefully you stopped your video and you made it look like mine there. So I want you to actually do another practice. I want you to find this document. It's blue. Nope, that's this document. So you're looking at document practice, dialogue practice. I want you to do this one now. It says, correct the following dialogue. Make sure to add quotes and punctuation to indent. And I tell you, here there are two speakers. So this is one story, and then here's another story. And they should look a lot like this when it's done. Okay? That's a good practice. See how you're feeling about it. And then, of course, the last thing you need to do now is then go into your personal narrative. And there must be 3 or more spots with dialogue. The dialogue must be a conversation between 2 or more people. And it must be indented correctly. And then this is a big part of your grade. And then highlight it in blue. Highlight the dialogue in blue. Okay? So I should be able to see it. And then this is a big part of your final grade. Okay. Hopefully you got it. If you need help, you can ask a neighbor. You can ask the teacher. Thanks very much.